I need that money. I really, really do. I need that money. I really need that money. Really need that money. I need that money. I really, really do. I need that money. I really need that money. Really need that money. Really, that money. That money.
Hey everyone, DSP here, and I wanted to share with you my initial thoughts after having played on my brand spanking new Steam controller for the last week or so since it arrived. Since the Steam controller arrived this last Tuesday, I've tested it in various genres of game, including a very easy to control narrative-based game like Directive 8020. I played it in a very challenging first-person shooter like Mouse PI for Hire on the hardest difficulty level, and I tried it in various retro fighting games such as Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, Street Fighter Alpha 3, Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, and more. And so, what I would like to do is tell you my experiences in each various game, but also tell you what I feel the strengths and weaknesses of this controller are, because I actually think it excels at certain things and isn't so good at others. First off, it is chunky. It feels a little bit heavier than most other controllers that I've used as of late, and that includes the Razer Wolverine Pro, the Xbox Elite 2 controller. It's just a chunkier guy because it needs to have space down there for the two touchpads, and it has a little bit of extra weight, likely because of the unique rumble features that it has and the very long length battery. It does have a contoured grip that feels good on the hand. It is textured, so it doesn't feel when you're playing like the controller is going to slip out of your grip or that you're going to get sweaty hands and that the controller won't be comfortable. Out of all the features of the controller, obviously the most unique is going to be the touchpads on the front. And everyone's going to say, well, how do those trackpads work? Are they good or are they not? Where do they excel? They excel navigating Windows and Steam itself. And I actually did a demo of this on my podcast earlier this week where I moved around in the browser and I showed people how you can select things by moving the cursor around on the right trackpad, but you can scroll pages up and down with the left trackpad. Also, when you use these trackpads, it has a unique minor vibration to it that actually tingles your thumb and feels pretty neat. I don't think I've ever felt like that level of minor vibration before. It's almost like getting a thumb massage, which is kind of funny. But I really enjoyed it because let's say you're someone who has always been a console player, so you're used to using a gamepad, but maybe you're thinking of getting the upcoming Steam machine later this year when it releases, but you don't want to get mouse and keyboard and be navigating around a PC like that because you're just not used to it. This could be your solution to that because it is very easy to move around windows and browsers, etc. It's easy to type. Like all you got to do is press the X button and it opens up a virtual keyboard where then you use the trackpads to move and click on the letters that you want. I didn't have a single complaint or problem really navigating around Windows, except for the fact that every once in a while, if I was scrolling all the way in one direction, sometimes it would kind of have a problem then going in the opposite. It would kind of want to keep going up instead of down or down instead of up. But it's kind of easy to get used to. It's not that big of a deal. Now, outside of the navigation features in Windows, let's talk about the various games that I use this to play in. First off, I played Directive 8020, and let's be honest, it's a narrative-based game where you walk around and sneak and do dialogue trees and the like. What I like is that I could actually use this right trackpad to select the dialogue choices, and you could move it and hold it, and it would vibrate on the choice you're picking. It's kind of an interactive feeling that I really enjoy. The vibration is great in this controller. In fact, I'll go as far to say it may be some of the best vibration I've ever felt.
Sims, that is not funny. I don't appreciate the joke.
The controller is vibrating right now, very slowly. It actually just stopped, but as that noise was going on, the controller started pulsating and vibrating, and then it stopped. So it's kind of creepy, actually. It feels really good vibrating in the hand, different various levels. Sometimes it pulsates, sometimes it's low, sometimes it's high, sometimes it's a hard shaking. And I really like that about it because some other controllers I have don't even have a vibration feature. As for the actual control scheme, in Directive 8020, I could actually aim the camera with the right trackpad, but I could not control the character with the left. I was forced to use the left thumbstick to move them around. And to be honest with you, I'm just so used to playing on pads with dual thumbstick. I felt more comfortable using the dual thumbsticks to control this game than the trackpad, but I just definitely could have. Aside of that, everything was fine in the game. No complaints. Buttons were responsive. Everything's going well for me in that game. Mouse PI for Hire, a challenging first-person shooter. I actually completed the game using the Steam controller, beating the last 2.5 stages on the hardest difficulty, Super Slew. I was able to beat the game, even though it was a very challenging finale, fairly easily with this controller. And I did go, dual thumbstick, use the triggers to aim and everything. Didn't really have a problem. I will say the one issue that I had is that you'll notice that the face buttons on this controller are very close together and kind of small. There was once or twice when I went to heal with the X button and oops, because these buttons are so close, I kind of missed it, didn't heal and almost died. And in one case, I actually didn't have to replay a little bit. So the controller will take a little bit of getting used to because the face buttons are kind of close. And are you kidding? There was no health. The health was upstairs and I went to grab the vial, but I couldn't grab it because the buttons on this controller are way smaller and closer together. So I literally overreached and pushed past the button and missed it and didn't heal. Wow, it saved nothing. Outside of that, the controller controlled perfectly well to beat a rather challenging endgame, so it worked good for a first-person shooter. Now, tonight, I actually played old school fighting games. Here's what I discovered. Yes, you can actually use the left trackpad to control these fighting games. However, it's kind of hard to play them like that. It's like, to get it to work instead of just, it's like, I'm actually shocked it works. I didn't think that the touchpad would work for fighting games, and it does. It is actually responsive. It's just too hard to get it to work precisely. Yeah, the D-pad is light years better. I will say this, all of the buttons, triggers, and everything were very responsive. However, I do sadly have to report about that D-pad that you see right there. As you can see, it is shiny, it is smooth, and as a result, it's not very precise. This D-pad very strongly reminds me of the D-pad that was on the Nintendo Pro controller for the Switch 1 back in the day. That means that it will work very well for single tap directions. And like I said, when I was playing Mouse PI for Hire, I didn't have any problem popping a health item or anything like that. But when you go to play fighting games, you need it to be very responsive quickly, and you need it to be able to read multiple directions at once. Hence, let's say you're trying to block down back. Multiple times while I was playing, I found that the controller would either just go down or just go back, even though I was holding both directions. That's very bad for a fighting game. I can't continuously block. I'm just holding back. Sadly, that means this D-pad is not very good for a fighting game. Hence, I would not recommend the Steam controller to play fighting games on. You're probably going to be pretty frustrated if you can't get your corners. That's a huge problem. Battery life. The entire week playing all those sessions that I just talked about, plus doing the walkthrough of Windows, I didn't charge it. So, I mean, you're talking a pretty good battery life on this guy if I used multiple streams and a walkthrough on another stream on a podcast and it's not needing a charge. I think the battery life is going to be exceptional, which is cool because this thing rumbles. It has touchpads. You would think, oh, maybe it kills the battery. Not so, okay? So, personally, here's my recommendations, pros and cons of the controller. Pros, the trackpads are very unique. They're very responsive. They work really well in Windows, and I think for someone who doesn't want to use keyboard and mouse but still use some kind of a PC like the upcoming Steam machine, I think that this will be absolutely perfect for it. I'm sure it probably works very well with a Steam Deck as well. Also, I do like the form factor. I like the battery life. I had no problem playing a competitive game and a challenging game like Mouse PI for Hire at the end game. So I think for tough games, it's going to be fine. But that D-pad is a huge detriment, and the face buttons being so shrunken and pushed in, I feel are going to be a challenge for some people. I mean, let's be honest here. Taking a look at this controller, what's the first thing that you notice? Everything's crammed to the top to make room for those trackpads. And that's all well and good, but that creates a problem. Most people aren't used to playing on crunched controllers where everything is squished together. Most people are probably used to controllers that are a little bit more spread out. So it takes an adjustment. And some people may not be comfortable with that. For me, I actually have a particularly fat thumb, and I can accidentally just thumb all 4 buttons, which is bad. You know, if I'm just trying to hit a specific button, if I have a fat thumb and I'm hitting 2-3 buttons, that could be a problem. So remains to be seen if moving forward, me playing games on Steam are going to work well with it or not. I will tell you this, out of the box, it doesn't work well on Game Pass at all. I tried playing certain games through the Xbox app. They would not function properly. Can we actually play a game here on the Xbox app using the Steam controller? So we're about to do a live test. I'm just going to pick any old game over here. The cursor moves around using the right touchpad and the right thumbstick. So left thumbstick works. Okay, touchpad up and down doesn't do anything here. Start game. Okay, so here we are. Let's try everything. All right. Thumbstick works. Oh, the buttons don't work. If you press X, it opens the keyboard. A does nothing. Y does nothing. Okay. Triggers do nothing. So the thumbsticks work, and that's it. The trackpads actually do nothing. I am being told there's workarounds where you can try to get a way to get them to work with Steam. But right now, out of the box, it's just going to work with Steam, and that's it. So overall, I like the controller. I think it's stylish. I think it's interesting. I like the new features of the trackpads. I like the rumble. I think it's definitely going to have a place in my setup, and I'm probably going to use it for certain game playthroughs. I might not use it for all games, and particularly, I'm going to stick to a different pad or my joystick when I play fighting games. But for the most part, I like the idea. I'm interested in the future as new games start to come out, and basically this controller is made compatible with all these new releases. Will some games on Steam actually feel better using those trackpads? How about strategy games? What about games like RimWorld where you want to select multiple units? Would it be easy to emulate like a mouse on here? Remains to be seen. But for my first week of experimentation with the controller, I like it. I'm looking forward to using it more. even though there are some shortcomings, I do think it's kind of a neat controller for a certain audience. I hope you've enjoyed my walkthrough of the Steam Controller Week 1. Thank you for watching.